right, that was just a couple verses and choruses I put together. I would have played that on an oud if I had one, but I don't. So that's the closest thing that I'm gonna get to presenting Middle Eastern music. So I wish I had one. I wish I had an oud, but I don't. I got to work with what I got. So all right, I'm Stephen Kempler. This is my presentation, Middle Eastern music and culture. So here I go. The oud. Many instruments originated from the Middle East, and the oud originally had 4 strings, but it has 6 strings now. Interesting. It has dual string on each head, so it has a little bit of extra melodic tune to it. The biblical story goes that the fourth generation son of Adam, um, his name was Lamech, and he had a son who died. And so to mourn for his death, he he hung himself from a tree. Pretty weird. Hung himself from a tree, and the shape that his body was dangling, someone saw and was inspired, I guess, and from that shape of his dead skeleton, made was inspired to make the oud. So pretty weird, pretty creepy, but it's a very popular instrument in classical Middle Eastern music, and very very important in the history. And we're gonna watch. Here's a couple guys with a Dumek and an oud playing. Looks like on maybe inside in a house or maybe on a street corner. But we're gonna watch this one real quick. Some classical sounds of the oud. Fast forward a little bit. Get to the verses. I wish I had time to show the whole video because it's really cool. It's super vibratic style of his voice in that one. The quality of sound was good. The only thing I would say about that is it's very doingy, and in my culture where I come from, which is I guess the United States. I come from California. That doingy sound is not it's not a good sound. So it's interesting how like other people in other cultures grow up and they totally just like dig these like other sounds that like other people don't even consider as good or So I thought that's cool. The dynamics, it's mostly a mellow song. It actually sounded to me like a morning song that you would play like at a funeral or something to help you get over like a death in the family or something. The only thing I can say about the pitch in this song is that you had the bass string guitar going constantly, um, and that was kind of the background harmony, while the melody I didn't really catch on, but it was very vibratic. Um, lots of repeated phrases, and the verses were repeated, and the choruses were all the same. So I thought that was interesting, kind of similar to Western civilization forms of songs. The rhythm was pretty slow, constant bass rhythm on that oud, kind of like the Spanish classical guitar. So I thought that was interesting, kind of similarity there. So moving on to our next section is going to be percussion. Most of the music in Middle East is upbeat. It's very upbeat, and the doumbek is actually one of the smallest drums that they have and the most common. It's made out of clay, and the goat skin covering makes for a very hollow sound. It's native to the Egyptians and Palestine and Lebanon as well. Like I said, it's made out of clay, the originals, and the religion of Islam, or in the Quran, it speaks about musical enjoyment and how it's not good. So I thought that was a twist. I didn't expect that. But later we're going to learn that Islam actually invites music for religious purposes. But let's take a look at a little bit about percussion. Whoops. So let's look at this percussion video real quick. So not all songs are like this, but most music in the Middle East is upbeat like this. This instrument is very crispy, a simple hollow sound, which is different from my culture. You know, the snare drum, the bass drum, and all the cymbals are sound so much different from that. So yeah, very fast, short intervals between beats. And so the next section of my presentation is going with, let's see, oops, sorry, music and dancing. So Islam used to make it illegal for belly dancing. And then they started using the music more for worshiping God. And so let's take a look at this video that shows some religious music. And we're going to skip a little bit. It's a long intro. So that was it was really soft and really focused, almost like you were in a Catholic cathedral. Had light violin in the background, which made for really relaxing. It almost made me want to sit down on a couch and just listen to it. But there were different words with the same phrase structure, and that's what made it super soothing to me. It was very slow, almost indiscernible rhythm. It was so slow. The only rhythm I could pick up was when they started and finished the phrases or the verses, whatever. I'm not sure what those were, but when they repeated, seems like they were saying the same thing with same phrase, different words, and that's the only rhythm I could pick up. So super slow, and that's Islamic religious music that we just listened to. But let's take a look at two kind of more modern genres. Berber music, played with bagpipes and oboes, very fast African rhythm. They tell a lot of stories in this type of music. It's essentially party music, and once you listen to a little bit, you'll notice that it is party music. It makes you in a good mood. Everybody's clapping and stomping their feet and singing along. So take a listen. All right, so for the sake of time, I gotta cut that short. But yeah, it's party music. It's very upbeat. Loud chorus, soft verses. I love heavy metal. I love uh, hardcore rock and heavy metal, and I love call and response. I love when they scream it in heavy metal, and this kind of reminded me of it. It has a really basic beat, um, and is really catchy. I caught myself humming it after it was done, so that was kind of refreshing to actually get into some of this music that's not from directly from my culture. Um, so call and response, very uh, what do I call it? Very distinct. Uh, the the calls were sung and the responses were more shouted. So I thought that was really cool, and that's exactly what happens in heavy metal sometimes to the music I listen to. It was a really steady, happy beat. I felt like, and it suggested like jumping or dancing around. So perfect for a party atmosphere. So yeah. And the reason why, so just wrapping up my presentation, the reason why I did that little guitar thing at the beginning was I thought that that little riff in the verse and the chorus went well with the principles that are in the foundation of music in the Middle East, which are a heavy African influenced beat, very catchy and fast. So I hope you like that. And I loved doing this presentation. I learned a ton, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And it's been a great class. I've learned tons about Polynesians and Africans and Chinese. So it's been a great learning experience. So thank you so much.